As we grow older, we all crave one thing above all else: peace. It's not about chasing goals anymore, nor is it about pleasing everyone around us. It's about cherishing the life we've built, nurturing the relationships that truly matter, and enjoying the fruits of our hard work. But here's the truth not everyone tells you: peace isn't guaranteed. Even in old age, the people you surround yourself with have the power to lift you up or pull you down. What if I told you that some of the most harmful relationships could even come from within your own family? This video isn't about cutting ties with everyone or living in isolation. It's about wisdom. It's about identifying toxic patterns in people and setting boundaries so you can live a fulfilling, joyful life, because you deserve that. Stay with me as I share 5 types of people you must avoid to protect your mental health and happiness. These insights are not just about avoiding negativity, but also about building connections that truly honor the life you've lived. And if you're ready to reclaim your peace, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Let's reach 1,000 subscribers together so I can bring you even more empowering content. Now, let's get started. 1. The manipulator. Masters of guilt, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine this. It's a peaceful afternoon, and you're sitting in your favorite chair by the window. Maybe there's a cup of tea or coffee in your hands, and you're soaking in the quiet beauty of life. Then, your phone rings. On the other end is someone who always seems to need something from you: a ride, a loan, or perhaps a favor they could easily manage themselves. At first, you don't mind helping. After all, you've spent your entire life being the dependable one, the cornerstone others could lean on. But as time goes by, you realize a pattern. They only call when they need something. And if you ever say no, you're met with guilt-tripping phrases like, "I thought I could count on you," or "You're being selfish." Sound familiar? That's the hallmark of a manipulator. How they affect your peace: manipulators are experts at turning your kindness into their tool. They frame their requests as emergencies, making it hard for you to refuse without feeling like you failed them. Over time, this dynamic chips away at your freedom, autonomy, and emotional well-being. How to protect yourself: the key to dealing with manipulators is learning to set boundaries. For example, when someone asks for a favor you're uncomfortable with, practice saying, "I'm sorry, but I can't help with that." You don't owe them an explanation, and your decision to protect your peace is valid. Ask yourself, does this person enrich my life, or do they only take? If the relationship feels one-sided, it might be time to reevaluate their role in your life. Remember, saying no to a manipulator is saying yes to yourself. 2. The overly self-centered. Narcissists in disguise. Picture this. You're sharing a heartfelt memory with someone you care about. Maybe it's a story from your youth, something that brings a smile to your face every time you think about it. As you're mid-sentence, they interrupt, steering the conversation back to themselves. You try again, hoping to finish your thought, but they barely acknowledge it before launching into another tale of their own greatness. Sound exhausting? That's because it is. Why it's harmful: self-centered individuals, often described as narcissists, leave little room for genuine connection. They dominate conversations and relationships, making you feel invisible or undervalued. And while they may not always be malicious, their lack of empathy can be deeply draining. How to protect yourself: here's the secret. You don't have to cut these people out of your life entirely unless you want to. Instead, focus on setting firm boundaries. If they interrupt you, calmly say, "I'd like to finish my story before we move on." If they dismiss your feelings, stand your ground. This moment is important to me. Surround yourself with people who celebrate and respect you. Real relationships are about give and take, and you deserve to be heard just as much as anyone else. 3. The critic. Breaking free from constant judgment, have you ever shared something you were proud of, maybe a small achievement or a personal story, only for someone to immediately point out what you could have done better? That's the critic at work. Critics often disguise their negativity as helpful feedback, but their words can wound deeply. Over time, these constant judgments can make you question your own worth and decisions. How to handle critics? The first step is recognizing that their criticisms often say more about them than about you. Critics project their own insecurities onto others to avoid confronting their own shortcomings. Ask yourself, is this feedback constructive? Does it come from a place of care and respect? If not, let it go. For example, if someone questions how you're spending your retirement, respond confidently, "I'm happy with how I'm living my life." Your choices are yours to make, and no one has the right to diminish the joy you've worked so hard to cultivate. 4. The irresponsible. Stop carrying their burdens. Imagine this scenario. A family member constantly finds themselves in trouble, whether it's financial woes, poor decisions, or personal conflicts. Time and time again, they turn to you for help. They promise, "This is the last time." But the cycle repeats. Before long, you're left feeling emotionally and financially drained, wondering if your support is truly helping or simply enabling their behavior. How to break free? It's important to understand that your compassion and kindness are virtues, but only when balanced with self-respect. Helping someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions not only exhausts you, but also prevents them from growing. Start by recognizing your limits. The next time they come to you with a problem, consider saying, "I'm sorry, but I'm not in a position to help." Perhaps you can explore other solutions. This shifts the responsibility back to them, encouraging growth while protecting your well-being. 5. The ungrateful. When kindness feels undervalued, let's face it, there's nothing more fulfilling than giving, especially when it comes from the heart. Whether it's your time, wisdom, or resources, giving can bring a profound sense of purpose and connection. But when your generosity is met with indifference, or worse, criticism, it can leave a bitter taste. A story that hits home: picture this. You spend hours preparing a family gathering, cooking everyone's favorite dishes, and ensuring everything is perfect. As the meal unfolds, someone casually complains, "It's not as good as last year's." Not a single word of thanks, just that one dismissive comment. Or perhaps a friend you've rearranged your schedule to help doesn't even acknowledge your effort. They act as if your support is expected, not appreciated. It stings, doesn't it? That's because ungratefulness doesn't just dismiss your kindness. It invalidates the love and effort you've put into your actions. Why gratitude matters in relationships. Gratitude is the glue that holds relationships together. It shows that someone values not just what you've done, but who you are. Without it, the joy of giving is replaced by frustration and resentment. How to protect your peace? If someone consistently fails to appreciate your efforts, it's time to reassess how much energy you're investing in that relationship. Ask yourself, does this person acknowledge or reciprocate my kindness? Do I feel fulfilled or drained after interacting with them? If the answer leans toward the negative, consider scaling back. For example, instead of going out of your way to accommodate them, focus on activities and relationships that bring you joy. It's also okay to communicate your feelings. Say something like, "I put a lot of thought into this, and it would mean a lot to me if you appreciated the effort." While you can't force gratitude, you can set boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Why it's so draining? The irresponsibility of others has a sneaky way of becoming your problem. It's not just about the money or time you invest. It's the emotional toll that comes with it. You begin to feel like their safety net, the person they always run to when they're in trouble. And while helping once or twice might feel rewarding, a constant cycle of rescuing them will leave you feeling resentful, drained, and even regretful. But here's the thing. You are not responsible for fixing everything. You've already spent decades fulfilling responsibilities, raising children, managing a career, caring for loved ones. Your golden years are meant to be just that, golden. Breaking the cycle with compassion, this doesn't mean turning your back on those you love. It's about helping them in a way that encourages their growth and independence rather than enabling their poor habits. For instance, shift the responsibility. If a family member repeatedly asks for financial help, say something like, "I've helped in the past, but I believe it's time to explore other resources or solutions. I'm confident you can handle this." Offer guidance, not rescue. Instead of solving their problem, guide them to find their own solutions. For example, have you looked into local resources or community support programs that might help? Resist guilt tripping. People who rely on you often use guilt as a tactic. Remember, your boundaries are an act of love for both yourself and them. By stepping back, you're giving them the space they need to learn and grow. A personal reminder your energy is sacred. Your time is precious. Every yes you give to someone who irresponsibly leans on you is a no you give to yourself. It's time to reclaim that balance. 5. The ungrateful. When kindness goes unnoticed now, let's talk about one of the most frustrating relationships: dealing with ungrateful people. Imagine this scenario. You've spent weeks planning a family gathering, pouring your heart into every detail, cooking their favorite meals, decorating your home, and even rearranging your schedule to make it happen. The day arrives, and instead of gratitude, you're met with complaints. "Why didn't you make that dessert we love?" The chairs are uncomfortable, and when the gathering ends, they leave without a simple thank you. Why ingratitude hurts so much? The sting of ingratitude isn't just about the lack of acknowledgement. It's about feeling invisible. You've put in time, effort, and love, yet your kindness is met with indifference or criticism. Over time, this can chip away at your joy, making you question whether your efforts are even worth it. But here's the truth. It's not you, it's them. Ungrateful people often fail to see the value of what's given to them because they've grown accustomed to taking it for granted. Their inability to express appreciation says more about their own shortcomings than it does about your work. How to protect yourself? Set emotional boundaries. Start by recognizing when someone's ingratitude becomes a pattern. If you find yourself feeling disheartened after every interaction, it might be time to limit how much you give. For example, instead of going out of your way to accommodate their needs, focus on what brings you joy. Focus on those who appreciate you. There are people in your life who genuinely value what you bring to the table: friends, neighbors, or even community members. Redirect your energy toward those relationships. They'll remind you of the joy that comes from giving without expectations. Communicate your feelings if the ungrateful person is someone close to you. Consider having a gentle conversation. For example, you might say, "When I go out of my way to help and don't feel appreciated, it hurts. I'd love for us to work on acknowledging each other more." Celebrate yourself. Remember, you don't need anyone's validation to know your worth. Take a moment to reflect on your efforts and give yourself the recognition you deserve. The core message: protecting your peace is an act of love. By now, you've learned about 5 types of people who can disrupt your peace: the manipulator, the self-centered, the critic, the irresponsible, and the ungrateful. But what ties all of this together is one universal truth. your happiness and well-being are worth protecting. Life is far too short to spend your precious golden years in relationships that drain you. You've already given so much of yourself throughout your life. Now is the time to give yourself the love, care, and respect you've always deserved. Building relationships that matter as you let go of toxic connections. It's just as important to nurture the relationships that bring light into your life. Look for people who celebrate your stories and wisdom, offer mutual respect and care, bring positivity and laughter into your days. Whether it's reconnecting with old friends, joining community groups, or even spending time with grandchildren who uplift your spirit, prioritize connections that nourish your soul. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. What kind of relationships are you holding on to? Do they bring you peace or do they weigh you down? As we grow our community, I want this channel to be a safe space where we support each other in living our best lives. So here's what I'd love for you to do. Hit the like button if this video spoke to you. Subscribe to this channel to join a community of people committed to living authentically and joyfully. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one lesson you've learned about relationships that's transformed your life? Your journey is unique, and your peace is your legacy. Together, let's build lives filled with purpose, joy, and meaningful connections.